back to Boys and Ghouls Film Review. I'm your host, Sarah Stephenson. This is my co-host, Mike Stephenson.
G'day everybody.
And today we're taking a brief break in our Psycho franchise film reviews to give you this new review, which Mike will give it to you.
Yeah, now this is a little bit different, but still in the same things we do. But now, I'll start off this way. Back in the olden days of the silent movie making, there was a vampire movie made. It was called Nosferatu, a symphony of horror or symphony of terror. I can't remember the full name of it now. That was done by a person called Frederick Murnau. I think Murnau. I'm not quite sure the German pronunciation.
It's a German
It's a
name.
German name. Okay.
In other
Anyway,
words,
this guy made is probably one of the first, I still think, reasonably high quality vampire movies of the time. Now, we're not reviewing this movie. What we're doing is we're reviewing a movie called Shadow of the Vampire, done in the year 2000, which is, what would you call it? A fictional documentary, a bit like a mockumentary to a certain degree, based on the making of that movie. It's really ingenious how they've done it. What do you think, Sarah?
I think so. And I think I like the fact that it's a mockumentary.
Yeah, it's not funny, but it's not real. It's fictional, okay? Where it's not a real it's not a biodrama sort of thing, based on a true occurrence. It is all made up around the making of the movie. But that's why I think it's interesting. And so it's got a touch of horror in it because it's obviously, well, not quite a horror movie, but it's got
More
elements.
like more of a horror drama.
Yeah, horror drama type thing, yeah. So it's rather good. But anyway, we're going to roll into it, but I'm going to go through a couple of things. It was directed by Elias Murring, I think is the right pronunciation of the name. Written by a person called Stephen Katz. Now, produced by Saturn Films, which actually is run by or owned by Nicolas Cage and Jeff Levine. Now, I didn't know Nicolas Cage was into this sort of movie, but obviously he is.
Yes, well, actually, Nicolas Cage wasn't in the movie. He was a producer of the movie.
No, I just say he wasn't into this type of movie.
Yeah.
He's in action movies and other things and dramas
Yeah,
and stuff.
well, so this is his first being a producer of this type of movie.
So maybe got a taste for the occult and stuff. Good one, Nicholas.
Yes, so anyway, who stars in this film?
Oh, well, I'm not going to go for everybody, but there's a whole lot of good, groovy people in it. One of my favourites is John Malkovich. He plays the lead role of Frederick Murnau.
Yeah, and you may have known him, and you may know him from Velvet Buzzsaw, we reviewed just recently. Previously.
He's been in other movies, but I
And
can't
a
remember
number
that at the moment.
he was in Warm Bodies, a zombie movie.
He was, yes.
And a number of other movies I'll care to name.
But there's just something about him. There's just something about his personality. He's rather good. I don't think he's normally a leading man type, but he's a really damn good co-star.
Agreed.
Okay, now, our vampire. Willem Dafoe plays the vampire. And my how to put it, his makeup makes him look like the original Max Schreck vampire in the silent movie.
Yeah.
It's actually to such a good degree that they can actually do some old footage and some new footage together, and it is so close that you don't know the difference.
Just so you guys know that the vampire is also named Max Schroeder.
It's Max Schreck.
Schreck, sorry. It says so many foreign names in this.
Schreck, yeah, Max Schreck. He was supposed to be the actor who portrayed Count Orlok in the original silent movie. In this movie, they're saying, well, Max Schreck is a pretend name because Count Orlok is really a vampire.
Yeah. So he's sort of given an alias.
Yeah. So that's where it goes. It sort of stretches into the realms of fiction.
Yeah. And who else stars in this film?
Carrie Elwes. I'll never pronounce his name. Elwes.
Yeah,
However you pronounce that, I don't know.
Yeah, he plays Fitz Wagner.
Fritz Wagner. He's a cinematographer.
Yeah, and
a video guy.
And of course, he has been in, well, the actual actor who's playing him is, he's played in Princess Bride,
Yes, he has.
and he was
has.
in,
He was
let me
Farm
see,
Boy.
the, another movie that's we'll probably review later on in the year.
Saw.
Well, yeah, that
Yeah,
too.
okay.
And another movie called, that's sort of a Frankenstein based off novel movie
Groovy.
called The Bride.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, yeah. And here's one. I'll skip this guy, but the next one is Eddie Izzard. I've seen Eddie in a few things over the years. He plays the male actor in the movie. Their version of Jonathan
Gustav.
Harker. Yeah, his name is Gustav, but when he's in that movie, he's playing the Jonathan Harker role, and he actually is quite believable in the way he's acting too. So everything's coming together. You got Udo Kier. He's in it. He's playing a producer, art director, and a costume designer. Yeah, it's just it's like a cast of thousands. Cecil B. DeMille would have been really pleased.
Yeah, and the lady who's playing our Mina Harker in this sort of
That sort of person. Yeah,
is played by
Catherine McCormack.
yeah, her character's name is called Greta Schroeder.
That's where I got the other
That's
name
where I
mixed
got
up.
the name mixed up there.
And
So
she plays Ellen Hutter, or Mina Harker, which is referring to the original.
and she's a
story.
total utter bitch in this movie. It's not being rude or anything, but that's what her character is like.
Well, she is. She's a real pain in the freckle.
Yeah, well, I don't like saying bitch out loud, but
Oh
I just
no,
feel like...
actually in this movie she is a nasty piece of work. Yeah. Okay. So anyway, do you want to take over telling the storyline?
Yes, I will. So it starts at the beginning, the opening scene where they're just filming, say, one or two of the scenes from Nosferatu.
In a film set.
Yes, there and while filming, he gets our famous director. He gets a little bit annoyed by their lead actress Greta, who says that she doesn't like being in front of the camera. She says it doesn't give her life. It makes her look well. It just takes away her life.
Yeah, she prefers to be a stage actress.
Yeah, and this is back in the time where cinema filmmaking is a new thing, guys.
Yeah, it's a new thing. And actually, they referred to the filmmakers as doctor because they're a doctor of science in the science of cinematography.
That's quite right. So cinema was a new thing back in the 1920s. So that was...
Well, yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, so it was a strange thing for a lot of people.
I mean, there were experiments going on at the turn of the previous century, but they were only more experimental films. But yeah, the main stuff was early last century, and the 20s were rather prolific, and they turned out a lot of good silent movies.
Quite right. So anyway, so our director... So our director goes and is about to get ready for them to film on location with their Jonathan Harker actor, Gustav.
Gustav, yeah. What a wonderful name here.
Yeah. So anyway, he gets his crew ready, and so they head off to... Where are they heading off to, Mike?
Bucket of Fire, some place. I can't pronounce all these German places. Hang on.
Don't be rude.
No, I can't pronounce all the names. I had it written down here somewhere. I got it written down. I don't care. They go somewhere to film on location somewhere in Czechoslovakia, but it doesn't say actually where. How's that grab you?
Yeah. So anyway, they go over to Czechoslovakia. They set up in an inn or
an out
or whatever. And so, of course, as they settle in, they wonder where they're going to get the extras from. And Murnau says the extras will be the ordinary people living there.
People, yeah.
Yes.
You don't, for background stuff, you don't need to have a lot of extra people running around. Just stand in the background, do your daily chores, whatever, walk down the street, and that's enough. Yeah,
meaning just settle the camera there and watch it roll for the entire day, watching people walking around, doing bugger or nothing.
Oh, that's that rude.
Well, anyway, so did a bit of day shooting, and the shooting is great at first, but then the locals get annoyed that they're mocking their religious beliefs at
Oh,
the
the two.
motel at the hotel.
I didn't think. I don't think they actually mocked them. They actually took all the crucifixes down off the wall,
Yeah.
so they wouldn't be in the film shots
Yeah.
because they didn't want them, and they got annoyed.
Yeah, they did.
But there was a reason because they believe in vampires and stuff, and that helps to protect them.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. So we soon arrive at the castle of sorts, and
for the night shoot.
for the night shoots,
And everyone's waiting. Hey, we haven't seen the lead actor who's going to play the vampire.
yeah, the producer and writer have pestered the director non-stop about who's going to be casted as the vampire. What kind of makeup will he need? What kind of costumes will he need? Stuff like that.
Yada yada yada.
Yeah, and of course, when we get to the site at nighttime, how he shows the vampire was pretty interesting. This is probably one of the things I love about filmmaking, where they don't show you the monster till until the actors actually see it, and they display real emotions in this.
Yeah, they
in
had
these
no
scenes.
idea what he's going to look like or act like or anything. And
Yeah, this is one of the reasons why I like it when directors go a little, keep it a secret, and then they go ahead and then they expose it, and you don't know the results of the actor's reaction until you see it on this big screen.
Look at that.
Yeah.
Sorry.
So anyway, our lead actor Gustav, he does the scene. His motions show up when he sees the Dracula creature, and he's kind of frozen in terror by the
it's a
expression.
really intense scene for him. The atmosphere around this actor and his role, it scared the crap out of him.
Yeah. Yeah. Imagine it scared the crew a bit when they'd seen him.
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, they then shut up shop for the day, and the producer says, "What, for that very scene?" And of course, Murnau says, "I would have gone anywhere to do this scene, to just see the expression on Gustav's face."
And he did. Look, he just about peed his pants, folks. I mean, he was.
Yes.
He couldn't speak.
Yeah. And all
He's
the
a
while,
man. Well, there was a silent movie. Wouldn't matter, would it?
all the while, the director of photography, I don't know if they would have called it back then, but he would have been a photographer back then.
He's a doctor of photography or cinematography or something.
So he,
Herr Doctor.
yeah, all the time he's gets drained and exhausted, and I don't know if
I
that was.
think someone's having a snack on him.
Yeah, and I don't know if it was probably either he's drugged out or ill or sick.
Well, I think a bit of both.
Could have been both.
Because everyone's hitting morphine and laudanum and different things.
Yeah,
and all the good old groovy drugs are back then,
Yeah, you'll be surprised at how much drugs we see in this movie.
Oh, yeah. So it wasn't illegal like it is now.
No.
It was like, it was like just drinking too much. I'd just take a bit of drugs and,
Yeah,
But, yeah, they do too much.
Nothing new under the sun, if that's what I mean.
Drugs are old, so sex. I mean, but it's in the movie. Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, the next evening, I guess, they set up for the next scene with their lead actor Max Schreck, and with Hatta or whatever.
That guy.
Yeah,
Good
stuff.
stuff. Yeah.
And of course, it goes really well for and everyone's bewildered by the fact that Max is an amateur. But
well, not an amateur. They don't know him. They said, "Where did you get him from?" So and he makes up some fictitious story. Oh, we got him from this so and so acting troupe in so and so, and blah blah blah. And they said, yeah, and he's really good at character roles.
Yes, and
so that's it.
While he's doing the scene, he does a few hand gestures towards the locket with Greta Schroeder in it. That plays.
She has nice bosoms.
Yes, that's what he says. And at one point, he is
lucky. He wasn't a talkie.
Yeah, quite right. So anyway, he looks at it and he kind of says a few things like that.
He does. What he was taken with that, but it's funny that part of the. Can we tell him now?
Yes.
Part of his payment for being in the movie, he was going to get Greta at the end of it, so he could have munchy with her. You know?
Yeah, but then again, the director wasn't fond of her, the producer wasn't fond of her, the writer was not even fond of her.
Yeah, it's a little pain. So, hey, it's I'll get rid of her at the end of it. It's
Even
okay.
though we know for a fact she's probably did thousands of other movies just after this Nosferatu in real life.
Well, we'll get on it later when we talk about the actors and stuff.
Yes.
Yeah,
So
later.
anyway,
Yeah.
so another scene where they're like the dining scene between Mac with the vampire and Gustav. He's slicing a bit of bread,
Yeah,
and
cuts
while they're
his finger.
slicing, he cuts his finger, and this causes the vampire to get all hungry.
Yeah, ravenous.
Wah.
So he tags him.
Yes, so he
Exit-
does.
yeah.
And while this is happening,
The lights go
the
out.
lights go out, and our director of photography gets he gets bitten.
Yeah, on the neck, was it?
Yes, and
Really.
everyone is freaking out, and even Gustav says he sawed him, drinking his blood and all that stuff. And
Do you have a straw?
I don't know. Anyway, the director approaches the vampire, says that he promised to keep everything a secret from his people, and it will be hard for him to continue doing this film if the vampire doesn't control himself.
Yeah, self-control of the vampire.
Yeah. So the vampire goes on that he'll continue doing what he likes, and he even marked that he doesn't like the ship scene in this production.
He doesn't want to. He doesn't like to go over water. Actually, it's really weird. A lot of movies say they can't go over running water or something or other. Or I can't remember. Still water's okay, like a lake, but they can't go over moving water, like a river or an ocean.
It does make you wonder that. I mean, in the Dracula movies, he arrives in England by
On a
boat.
Yeah, so that sort of contradicts the stories and the mythology. So
quite.
interesting that.
I never could figure out why
Or
one
maybe
in
just
water.
get seasick. I don't know. But anyway, so they make a model of the boat at his castle.
Yeah, to make things less difficult.
Yeah, so.
Yeah, and of course.
In the Navy. Sorry.
So anyway, our director Murnau, he goes off to get a new photographer because his other one is not feeling so hot.
Yeah, so and does Carrie, whatever his name is.
Yeah, and while his producer and his writer stay behind to look after the set, keep an eye on the ship and everything, and keep the company together, if they can.
Yeah.
And there was one scene where they're drinking snaps. And
anyone have snaps? It's really good.
yeah, and they're talking with the vampire Max, and he
the pretend Max Schreck, who's actually Count Orlok.
yeah, and as they're talking, they discuss the book and about how Dracula never.
Well, no, yeah, they're asking all like how he perceives the personality of the character of Dracula.
Yeah, because Dracula never had servants. How can Dracula know how to prepare food when actually he never eaten for so many years?
A couple
So how
centuries,
can he make sure that the man that meets him will be able to deal with him?
So he had to remember how to actually put a nice meal, set a table, do this. Yeah, because he hadn't done it for 200 or 300 years, whatever.
Yeah.
He's been eating
nothing but blood and all that, and rats.
Yucky.
Yeah. So in the end, he drinks some bat's blood.
Oh, that's a really dramatic scene. That's really good.
Yeah.
Gross. Poor bat.
Yeah, both men were.
The movie.
Yeah, both men were shaken by it, but not too shaken. They were still drinking.
They just pass off. I must have been drunk. He's in character. He's really, really good actor, isn't he? They got no idea, these guys.
Yeah. At one point, he kills another crew member. I don't know.
Yeah. One of the guys working on the
maybe one of the carpenters. I think it would be.
Yeah, he went there and had a drink.
Yeah, and he fell. Blah 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 blah. Probably, and maybe even found much later on. I'm not sure, dead maybe.
Well, he wouldn't have been alive after being thrown off the boat down the side of the hill and everything. So he would have been a bit diddy.
Yeah. So our director Murnau arrives back with Fitz Wagner with his new director of photography or photographer. Anyway,
he is a pretentious twit too, but anyway, irrespective.
Yeah, irrespective. So they continue filming a bit, and it goes really well. And soon enough they end up going before they head off to the next location, which was what was
Oh, gee, another one I can't pronounce. Helen.
it? Heligoland or something?
Something really weird.
Heligoland, I think it was.
Something like that. Heligoland or something or other. Heligoland. Yeah. Heligoland. You try to say it, folks.
Yeah. So anyway, the writer discloses to Wagner and a few of the crew that about how the Max turns out to be a real vampire, and how explains that the director Murnau wants to make this film so authentic by using a real vampire. So what kind? So
it
that's
worked.
Well, why he goes over there? He gets what does he get to make it look more authentic? He gets natives, he gets a real castle, and he gets a real vampire to make it all authentic for the camera, even if it's hard to believe.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, excuse me, folks.
Of course, Wagner and all the other guys disbelieve his theories and say that it's all made up and stuff.
Yeah, he's just a good actor.
Yes.
No, he's not.
So soon enough, they go to
Heligoland.
Yes, and they
whatever.
arrive at their location, the spot, and of course, Greta Schroeder is there. She's all drunk or
Well, she's
drugged
drugged up a
or
bit, yeah.
whatever. Anyway, they begin to plan their final scene around her.
Oh, now, by the way, Murnau and his friends are thinking, hey, we're going to try kill off Count Orlok after the final scene, so we don't have any problems with him later on.
Yeah.
And this sort of goes a bit pear-shaped, as Sarah will tell you in a moment.
Yeah, of course, the vampire wants to get Greta right away and slurp her up and drink her. And of course, Murnau says, "You stay away from her till after this picture is finished."
And then she's all yours.
Yes, of course, he says, "It's hardly your picture anymore." They get to a squaffle, but as usual, the vampire is much more stronger than the human.
You try to argue with producer directors, they are a breed unto their own selves.
Yes.
You just can't. Oh, sorry. You're
Don't
one
be
of those.
rude.
You're one of those, aren't you?
Don't be rude,
Yeah.
Mike. So anyway,
very
they
stubborn.
fight, and of course the vampire wins, and he walks off to get himself drugged up.
Yeah.
Because in the next scene you see him with Lornama, I think it was.
Laudanum, I think, yeah.
Yeah, and the producer and the direct photographer find him there, and he admits to them for pretty much the truth that they really got a vampire on the film set.
Yeah. And he'll stake his reputation on it.
And he says that in return for the vampire's help, he will get Greta Schroeder at the end of the film's
But
finished.
that's a fair trade.
Agreed.
Yeah. She's a crappy actress. Oh, no.
Yes, and of course, they soon set up their plan. They found out they couldn't escape at first because the helicopter's gas is empty, meaning they can't really escape if they wanted to. The not helicopter, the airplane they had.
They fly in.
They flied the vampire over.
You're wondering whether the vampire actually drained the fuel out of the airplane. You don't know because they're just out of fuel.
I don't know.
Maybe he could have been a smart vampire.
Might. So anyway, they prepare the final scene. Everything's all arranged. Only the producer, the photographer, and director Mono are just at the set and getting things organized without the rest of the crew around.
Didn't need them.
Yes, and
well, they were outside doing something else, but we'll mention that later.
Yeah, so Greta is just getting settled in, but she's a little shaky around Max around.
Yes, he is creepy. He's supposed to be creepy. Come on, it's a horror movie about vampires. Well, it's not the teddy bear's picnic, is it?
Yeah. So as she's settling in to the scene, she sees Max's no reflection
in a mirror. Ooh. And I want to stop there. In the original movie, when they're doing that scene, I think there's a scene there, and there's a mirror, and he has a reflection. But they couldn't actually edit that out back in those days.
Well, So anyway, she sees it, but instead of trying to kill the vampire, they drug her with
Yes, Mono's lording them, so she gets off at a bit of a
goes on a trip.
sleepy time, baby, and that's it.
Yeah.
Also, well, she's laying down in bed, supposed to be sleepy anyway, so it relaxed her a little bit,
Yeah. So
a lot of bit.
yeah. So she's finally rested a little bit, and so they begin the scene without any interruption from her, which I think probably she's annoying anyway.
Yeah, that's a pain in the ass. No,
Yes.
sorry.
So anyway,
Who
they
said that?
start filming the shot, and all the time, Murnau is trying to keep things under wraps as much as he can, even at the point that both the producer and the photographer try to tackle the vampire, try to fight him off, even after they're
trying to do things to him. And,
they even tried their plan of getting him burnt in the sun. Failed because the rope that was attached to the door that was going to open up to the sun was damaged.
Yeah, because the vampire guy Count Orlok got to it. He knew what they had planned, so he said, I'll fix it, so they couldn't open the big door.
Yeah, so they were.
He was in for a shock, though.
Yeah, so the photographer and the producer continue fighting with him. He outfights them, and all the time, director of Murnau is filming the whole scene. And he says that he must continue this.
He has to go back to his mark, because if it's not in frame, it didn't happen, or something or other.
Yes.
Yeah.
So he continues filming, and of course, he finally, Greta finally snuffs it.
Oh, what a shame.
Meaning, there were some really good shots there.
Slip.
Yeah. And then while this is happening, the vampire turns and sees that the door is finally opening by the crew itself.
Yeah, they're opening it from the outside to let the people out.
All the time, Murnau's saying all nasty things to the vampire, saying, "You take the sun. Now years of dread, horrible things you've done, blasphemer."
He said a lot of rude words.
He says this a lot in these movies because back then the director gives you directions, or in the silent movies.
Yeah, and actually that's where it really came from. You'd sit there and say, "I want you to come in that door there, look at her, blah blah," and while you're doing it, they'd actually be talking through the scene.
Yes. So anyway, while this is happening, the vampire slowly takes the sun, and he burns and decays and dies.
And Murnau is still turning the camera handle. He's saying, "Could someone pick up the clapperboard and give me an end mark, please?" His crew's dead.
Well, some of the crew are still alive.
The guys who are there, the guys coming through the door, who are in a bit of shock. Ooh, what happened here? Yeah. He's asking for the dead guys to get up and give him a clapperboard mark.
No, one of the crew members picks it up.
They did eventually, but
he
saw the
picks
other
it
guys.
up, and he turns it, and that's a slate.
Yeah.
And that's the wrap, so to speak.
That's a wrap. Yeah. It's in the can.
And Murnau says, "We finally have it." And we cut and we fade out.
Now, can I talk about some of the people now?
Yes, Mike.
This Murnau, that's the right pronunciation of his name. In this movie, he's portrayed as a really hard-nosed, arrogant man. In reality, he wasn't. He was a softer gentleman who was, what's the word? Very imaginative and everything else. He wasn't portrayed in the real life because this was a fictional movie. And the lady who that Schroeder lady who just died, she wasn't really a bitch, and she wasn't a well-known actress. She was a little-known actress, and she went on to make other. We'll do a bit of acting here, back on the stage or whatever. But yes, everybody, no one actually died in the movie or in real life back in making the original Nosferatu movie. But Murnau died only a few years later due to a car accident.
Oh, it's a shame.
So yeah, he's the only one who really died. He's the only one who survived in the movie.
Yeah. Anyway, before we could go on, Mike, the music played on the gramophone on the set to set the mood in the for the actors in some of the scenes in the movie is actually written by John Williams.
He does get around, folks.
It was originally used in Dracula 1979, which is
okay.
which we might review next time, guys.
We might do that. Yes,
That's an awesome Dracula movie too.
Wow.
So
okay.
anyway, go on, Mike. With what you say?
No, you still got me foot. I didn't know about John Williams going in there.
Yeah.
Everybody who died in the movie didn't die, and Murnau died a couple of years later. So that was, I find it rather interesting. That was a bit of a funny bit. But no, but when you get back into a few things of the production part, I think what's his name? Nicolas Cage might have been looking at playing one of the roles. I think he's going to do the Count Orlok role, but then Willem Dafoe showed an interest in doing it.
That's nice.
And Nicolas Cage respected Willem, so he let him do the role.
Yeah. Another thing. Who played Fitz Wagner again?
Fitz Wagner, that was Carrie Ells.
Yeah, Carrie Ells. This is probably now, when I look at it, has now starred in 2 films that deal with vampires and stuff like that. So the other one, which is Bram Stoker's Dracula, that was done in 1992, which had starred Gary Oldman, who played Dracula in that movie.
Wasn't he? Yeah. Actually, having said that, I'll be going a bit further at that because I had something here that he played in that movie. Where's the other one here? Two of the other actors played in Dracula type movies. Here you go. 3 casts, okay. Udo Kier, he was in he played Count Dracula in Blood for Dracula in 1974, and Dragonetti in Blade in 1998. As Sarah said, Gary Ells played Arthur Holmwood in the Bram Stoker's Dracula, and Willem Dafoe.
Not Gary Oldman didn't play.
I said
Arthur
Gary
Holmwood.
Ells played in the Bram Stoker's Dracula.
Oh, sorry, calm down.
And Dafoe played a minor role in The Hunger, which is a 1983 movie. All vampire movies.
Quite.
And now, reception for the critics. Generally, it was relatively well received, and they commented on Willem Dafoe's acting ability and everybody else. They just had a good feeling, but it just didn't do really great at box office.
That's a shame.
It about $8 million to make about $11 million at the box office. It could have been just a matter of timing. I don't know, but
who knows? Maybe there was another movie going on that was much more better received.
Yeah, probably. That often happens. If timings are very integral. Remember that Dracula movie they made with that Lederer guy in America, and that came out about the same time as something else came out. So no,
I think that was when Hammer made their own version of Dracula.
Yeah, but he made one over there.
He made one over there,
and it squashed it pretty much.
Yeah, and Hammer squashed it.
Yeah, it wasn't a bad movie. It wasn't a great movie. It wasn't a bad movie, but it died.
Yeah, it died where it's well. It just pretty much didn't work.
It was stillborn.
Yeah, well, it didn't work for me. So, anyway, so another thing about this movie is that I found out. Let me see. Well, as I said before, I did think this movie was pretty incredible, and I thought it's such a shame it was given. No one ever gave it a second look.
Well, they might have, but they just didn't do well. I mean, again, we'd see the figures for the costings, the budget and how much it made. They don't tell us how much it made when it hit the DVDs and that sort of stuff, and syndications on TV channels and whatever. Don't know how well it actually ran after that. So, which is a bit of a shame because it's a fine movie.
Agreed, it is.
Good actor, John Malkovich. He's a great actor. He's not the best actor in the world, but when he gets his teeth into a part, he really serves up a good.
I liked him in
a good effort.
Yeah, I liked him in Man in the Iron Mask, where he plays Arthos in that movie.
He did. I forgot about that.
Yeah, he did an awesome job.
You've been watching my movies, have you?
Of course I have.
Okay.
I always am a big fan of old classics.
Yeah, and my movie collection. Yeah.
Yeah, so
I got a lot of movies.
Yeah, and I often borrow them off you.
Yeah, I haven't watched them all yet. I just can't. It's physically impossible.
Yeah, I also liked John Malkovich in Johnny English.
Was he?
Johnny English, yeah. He played a nasty Frenchman bad guy in that movie.
Oh, you do get around, don't you, John? There you go.
And of course, as I said before, he was in what's that movie called with again? Um,
I can't.
oh yeah, Warm Bodies. Sorry, sorry.
Oh, yeah, isn't that too? Yeah.
Yeah, and
And actually, we might review that one day. The dialogue's not extensive because they're just zombies walking around going, "Arr, arr, arr." But
yeah, well, it's
there's
not
a lot of voiceover
I
stuff
did
in
like
it.
the movie, and I like the fact that
It's cute.
it's different. It's not like
It's cute. It's a cute, funny. Would you say teen, zombie, weird, apocalyptic type movie? How's
yeah,
that? Pretty good.
yeah. I will do it eventually, but what I like to do it after the coronavirus passes, guys.
Yes,
Mostly because I know most of you guys have questioned me nonstop why I'm not doing any zombie films at the moment, but I just don't want you guys, the viewers, feel like it's we're trying to make a
Yeah.
profit by promote you know viruses and
Yeah, I think they
and all
get
that
the
stuff.
picture. I mean, it would lack sensitivity when people are dying all over the place and
Yeah, and it's
from a
not
virus.
it's
and
not a
lots of-
good message
Yeah, it's
when
not
you
like
think
World
about
War Z and stuff. You're not going to do these sort of things just at the moment, folks.
Yeah.
I mean, let's be sensitive to the people who are doing it really hard and losing their loved ones or whatever. We're not
Yeah.
going to do it, okay?
yeah.
Watch this space.
Yeah.
It comes maybe next month or something or other when
Or
it's a bit
next
easier.
year, depending on
Yeah, whatever. Yeah,
depending if things settle down eventually, maybe we'll then
Yeah, then
think
we
about
might
it.
start bringing those type of movies in. I'd rather do vampires, ghosts, weird crappo stuffo,
Yeah, I mean, I like the idea of
yeah.
those types of movies. Even
But we will bring slasher. See, slasher movies are okay. We've done the Final Girls and other things. And we might do Hellraiser and stuff. They're really good fun movies.
we'll see. So anyway, let's rate this movie now. Shall we?
Oh yes, that shall.
Yes. So, how do you rate this movie, Mike?
Well, that's a hard one. Only it's not a big commercial job like all the other ones we do. It's a damn fine movie. Okay, everything works for it. I think I can't pick any problems with it.
Yeah.
Actually, I got a lot of praise for it. Even the filming techniques. So usually, when they're pretending to be looking through the cameras and different things. They're making that iris, like that vignette, whatever you call it.
Yeah.
They made it so real, and it actually took you back to 1920s when they would have made the original movie. So, for imagination, acting, all the other things that go to make a good movie, I've got to give it 9.5.
I think I'd give it a 9.5 too. I mean, not being nasty about it, it's just that I just wish. I mean, it is good and all that stuff, and I can't pick at it, but it's. I just wish that there was something that could, really, that would kind of set a big interest in the movie.
Yeah, well,
I mean, I like the idea that of a direct. This is based on real people or
Supposedly.
on supposedly real people, and that they're doing a film that we all know about and have
all know and love.
and have have all over the years used as an influence point when you think about it.
When you think it, okay, let's go just take it back. This movie was going to be based on the Dracula book written by Bram Stoker. They couldn't get approval to do that.
No, we have.
So was it his wife or something? His
I
widow?
think it was Bram Stoker's wife, widow.
Or widow. I think it was. And she wouldn't get permission for him to use the book as a basis for the storyline for the movie.
Yeah.
So they just changed it. Say, okay, we're going to call it a different name. We're going to change our vampire's name to Count Orlok.
Yeah,
And
and
change the film a little bit.
Yeah, and change the names of the leading characters a bit.
Yeah, but still it's similar. It's very similar. He had a boat involved and a vampire buying a block of dirt in the main town. And
It's just a bit weird that she never took an outside interest in
See,
this.
they probably thought movie making was a flash in the pan and disrespectful to literature or something or other. Who knows?
I don't know. I mean, I think that it's just like when they thought Alfred Hitchcock's going to do television shows than doing actual movies.
Yeah, he sold out, but he
was
didn't sell out.
selling out point.
It's just that the industry, he had to feed himself and
true.
keep working, and then TV was the next thing.
Yeah,
He lost his credibility. Actually, I'm going to change the tack just for a minute.
okay.
May I?
That will be fun.
This movie that purports to have a real vampire in it. Okay, that's fine. Really good. Trying to get the credibility. Now, there was a movie done years ago by Todd Browning called Freaks. That was down, what, in the 20s, 30s?
Yeah, roughly there.
Now, it was based in a carnival. And instead of getting actors to play freaks, Todd Browning got real carnival freaks to play real freaks in the carnival.
Yeah.
And a touch of reality, if you will.
Yeah.
Now, the problem was, it was too real, and the people didn't like it. They thought we'd prefer to have actors playing freaks, not real freaks.
Yeah.
And it partially destroyed his career. He still made Dracula after that, I think.
No, that came
Before?
Before.
Okay.
Dracula came much before Freaks, sadly.
Okay. It's about the same time anyway. Maybe a couple of years before, but after he made this movie, his career went downhill a bit because nobody wanted to see his movies because he was searching for reality, trying to make it real. And maybe it can be too real.
Yeah, well, that's the problem. Like some people, they just don't like anything that might be. They probably think reality is a lot more scarier than
fiction.
Than fiction.
Well, you look at King Kong. You know the original King Kong movie.
Yes.
They said the guy went and he brought King Kong back, and they brought him back to New York, wherever it was going to be. And behind the curtain, you had the gorilla, okay?
Yes.
And say, people coming into the theatre, and they said, we're going to another nice movie, and blah, blah. They didn't want to see a real chimpanzee or a real giraffe. They wanted to see a movie about them. And when they had King Kong on stage, they were shocked, horrified. What's this animal doing in the theatre? Ooh, strange. Hello. Yeah, he's a wild. He goes out catching a wild beast on film and otherwise, and he brought it back alive this time, didn't he?
Oh yes.
And shocked everybody, and he destroyed the city. Now,
but you got to admit though, when you think of Freaks, it does kind of when you look at something new that's not and something that's based off reality more. It does make people start thinking, ooh, this stuff is real? Oh my gosh, I can't think this stuff is really real happening.
Yeah. That's like if you get a war correspondent goes to war and it shows bombs going off, people dying and dropping in the street from bullets. That's real. A lot of people don't want that. They want to see a movie about it where actors are pretending to fall down. And it's okay then because it's not real.
Yeah.
Interesting, isn't it?
It is interesting. It's a bit sad, but interesting.
It's sad, but it can destroy a career going too real.
It's probably one of the reasons why the FBI was probably investigating this sort of filmmaking.
Were they? Oh, I didn't know that.
Well, remember in what's his name? That famous FBI guy,
J. Edgar Hoover.
Yeah, he was investigating a number of filmmakers and finding out if they were doing these films, if they were either, communist supervisors, and they're trying to send out the wrong message to the public.
Yeah, well, so that one of Charlie Chaplin, he played Hitler or something like a German leader. The Great Leader or something, and the Great Dictator or whatever it's called. And the problem is,
it destroyed his credibility.
I think really because it had a German feel to it, and everyone likened his role to Adolf Hitler. And the speech he gave was a magnificent speech. And it came over as the fact he was a communist sympathiser, which he probably wasn't.
Yeah, and an interesting fact is, when Chaplin made The Great Dictator, this is off the record. I don't know if I've told you this before. Maybe I have. Maybe I haven't. The actually Adolf Hitler, he saw that movie and he cried
because it reflected his own personal feelings.
Yeah, meaning he may not be as bad a man as we think.
Well, I
think the public painted him as bad.
We won't go into Adolf Hitler at this point in time. We're talking about movies here.
Yeah, sorry about that.
We could have a few problems discussing politics.
Good point.
And a deceased country's leaders and stuff and
Yeah,
wars.
so-
And, no.
So
let's
anyway,
move along that way.
so anyway, guys, so we've rated this movie and we both agreed that it was
but
9.5.
Yeah, I mean,
So it's
yeah, it's a great movie. It's a good watch if you like something different. Would you say it's almost avant-garde? It's not quite your normal movie.
yeah, well, it
it's
is
just-
different.
yeah,
I
it's
mean,
the way they've done
unlike
it, yeah.
other biodrama movies where they talk about real people
And
this-
trying to make it real.
and make it real, this one took it in a different direction.
It's a fictitious drama, biodrama. Yeah, so it's based on reality, but everything else is not. So yeah.
Yeah.
It's interesting. It's great. I like it. I like the way it was written and produced and directed. Yeah.
Yes, so
And a good selection of actors too. They're believable.
yeah, agreed. So anyway, thanks for listening to this podcast episode, guys. So I'll talk. This is Sarah Stephenson saying, "See you guys around."
Goodbye, guys.
I bet you thought I was going to say a witch laugh then, didn't you? See you around,
Okay.
guys.
Bye.
Bye.